Okay, and Craig's in. Okay, so season 4 has officially ended. Reunion was last night. Season is done. And honestly, kind of happy that it's over. This season was a whirlwind. There was some really good moments, some really bad moments. I don't want to kind of like talk about characters or anything. I just want to hit some of like the big points of the season and how the season progressed. And I really want to hit FTC because that was one of the last things not to get its own review. So I think I'm going to start at the beginning of the game. 20-person cast, not our largest cast, but I'm thankful that this cast wasn't much bigger. I think 20 was a good number, 10 on each tribe, and no swap this season, which I think was the biggest shock to the players because I remember for a few rounds from like final 14 to final 12, everyone was like, "Oh boy, get ready guys, it's going to swap." And then we pulled a few drop your expectation moments. It was fun. It was a bit camp. I enjoyed that part. I really enjoyed the idea of a non-swap season. I think they go over interestingly because it really forces tribes to get into the nitty-gritty of relationships with each other. And I mean, we saw it with the breakdown of the girls and when Clara got voted off, which wouldn't normally happen if there was a swap, though I do think there was the chance some people who got voted off later into tribes would have got voted off earlier if we did do a swap. But that's just predictions, and that's not what happened because we never did swap. But we go back to Final 20, or the humble beginnings of this game, and chaos is ensuing already because poor Elk gets almost screwed over by the locking vote system that we have. And that is almost a storyline for the first few episodes of the season because there's a lot of confusion on locking and people forgetting to lock their votes or forgetting to say that votes were placeholders. So that was almost a moment in and of itself for the beginning of the season. And this is going to be so disjointed, the whole review of the season. But I want to jump to Edgic because my favorite thing about the Edgic is all of the under the radar people went almost in order of each other if we didn't have the Kode and Ella situations this season, and if Uni didn't take greed, I think all of our under the radar people would have went one after the other from episode 1. Of course, there was a lot of other under the radar and invis moments throughout the season. I really liked that. Um, Edgic this season was very nice to see. The amount of OTT players this season was I enjoyed it. Besides the string of 3 OTT NNs this season, that was a little it was a choice of the players. But there was a lot of complex personalities this season and a lot of middle of the roads, which aren't terrible because they're still giving you character development and growth and interesting things to watch. But I mean, CP is the gold standard of Edgic. Also, hello, Gabriel.
Hello. I
Haven't
woke
missed
up just in time for this.
much. Perfect. So all I've kind of covered is the locking votes at the beginning of the season being a issue and almost like a running theme for the first like 3 or 4 episodes.
How
And
what?
locking votes and not locking votes and people getting their votes locked without them wanting them to be locked.
Oh yeah. It happens every season.
It's always funny, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's something that I've considered changing, like, about, like, how we do it, but I don't think we will, because it just leads to so many interesting scenarios.
Mhm. And then I went over how the under the radar people from episode 1 kind of all went out in sync or, like, one after the other.
Mm, yeah.
That's
I I don't
the
really have much to say about that. It's
yeah.
just yeah.
No, but this season was kind of like a whirlwind of a season. We had a pretty strong first 2 episodes, I would say. There was a
Yeah.
lot of characters, some I don't think the tribals were really that divided. I mean, Elk's tribal had the possibility of being divided because Elk really did put in a good fight to stay, but it was too late. And then Curtis kind of was a straight shot. And then we had the kind of problematic chunk of vote offs, or not even really vote offs, because Code and Ella were removed. Meredith had a very interesting exit. And
Yeah.
then we go into kind of the under the radar, middle of the road characters being taken out of the game, and RIP Uni being in this group taking Greed. Greed, honestly, in my opinion, is one of my favorite points of this season. It was very entertaining for me.
It brought it brought an interesting chain of events, absolutely, because you saw the downfall of Ian, which wasn't even his fault. And Ian was actually in a pretty good spot, but he literally went home because of uni.
hmm And then you see Uni going, and this all chain started Archer's like full control of the Med Consulate tribe. It really was a recipe for disaster and greatness all mixed together. And it was nice to see from Uni, who she normally plays pretty heroically. And I mean, we've seen her play here before, and she played a pretty heroic and safe game, I would say. So her being a complete and utter mess and nearly villainous because it was all for selfish intent was a nice breath of fresh air as someone who's spec'd a few of her games.
I have to agree.
And then we get into the merge boots, and we have another 2 OTT exits. Archer leaves for mental health, which I think is a fair choice for him. I think was the right choice. We see Shoddy go out, and that was a very interesting exit for sure. And
Yes.
we see our first rocks of Villainvivor. And honestly, poor LaFleur. I know LaFleur left the server, but I think LaFleur really had what it took to win. Because, I mean, we saw in Rose's playing, she was very willing to carry him to the end and then get taken out so he could win. And him going out to Rocks was kind of the beautiful turn of events we needed to see the end game play out. And we almost got Rocks again with J Rose vote off, which I'm very sad we didn't.
I know that would have been so entertaining to get it twice.
And people were predicting it when they put in votes because everyone knew it was another 4-4 split once Malik came back, and everyone was like, oh boy.
But Sun decided to step out of the norm and switch it up,
hmm
which honestly was good for his game, I think.
Well, yeah, after that vote off, we see Sun move up to number 1 contender for 3 episodes straight in Edgic because of that. It set himself up pretty well because the other side that he jumped ship from in switching the vote and voting off J-Ro, didn't have any power. So they couldn't take him out for that move. And anyways, they were more focused on getting Court and Rose out. And the other side now trusted Sun. And we especially got to see Sun and Malik get close together, which was sadly short lived. I think they could have done some damage if Malik stayed longer in the season, but he did not, sadly.
I'm still trying to figure out why people thought that he was such a threat.
Sun?
Yeah, I mean, Sun and Malik.
Hmm.
I just personally did not see it.
I think it almost came from a sense of they didn't really downplay their game. Of course, they didn't try to like make their game seem amazing, but everyone knew they were confident in what the game or like how they played their games. And I know it's a strategy for some people who play orgs to downplay their game throughout the season and make people want to take them to the end as like a goat, and then they whip out their actual game. And
Mhm.
I don't think Sun nor Malik played into that kind of thought process.
Okay, that makes sense.
Though we didn't get to see all of the DMs that all of the contestants had, so who knows?
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part. There was like kind of a lack of confessionals, I feel like.
Yeah, I think that's one of the defining things of this season is there was a good deal of gameplay, we just didn't get to see it. And we came off of a season where there was a good deal of confessionals full of nothing gameplay related because there wasn't much gameplay to be had. So it was a really interesting polarization between the two seasons.
Yeah. I mean, there was like a lack of moves in season 3. Don't get me wrong. But there was more gameplay, you know.
Mhm. And I feel that almost motivation in the game dwindled as the season went on. And I think that came from the removals early on in the season and then Archer leaving. I think people just kind of got overwhelmed in the game. And I
Mhm.
think that affected the end game a little more. Though I will say, the end game I was very happy to watch because there was a lot of fluidity in it. There
Yeah.
were still moving parts to be had, and that's pretty uncommon when it comes to end games when everyone's locked into final threes and final twos and they don't waver from them.
Our Edgic was totally wrong. Our contenders list.
Oh yeah. And that's what I wanted to talk about next. The like progression of contenders. So episode 1 is Ella Court Archer average. Boy, we were wrong.
Wow. Wow.
And
Wow.
Ella holds the top spot for a while, but then cheater. So of course Ella held that top spot. So I would more say the biggest contender of like the early block of the game is average. Average did really well in the season early on until leaky NB happened.
Yeah. But they still made it to third, so we did pretty well on that prediction.
Hmm. And then we see the rise of Huntress, who has the longest stretch of being the number one contender this season. And I really do think Huntress had what it took to win and
Oh
was
yeah.
on the path to win. It's just personal circumstances come up, and Huntress
Right.
had to leave the season, which is fully understandable. No, like ill will to Huntress, and I'm sure we're gonna see her come back for another season if she wants, because she was a iconic character.
Absolutely.
And then we see yet another wave of contender under Huntress is Bufus, which came to a surprise of a lot of people because at the beginning of the game, Bufus was not the greatest player and was still getting his feet in the org sense because it was his first org. But at mid game, we kind of see Bufus really come into his own,
Mhm.
gets to the top spot, but then J-Rose Vodov kind of shoots Bufus in the foot and he falls off. And then the final wave is Sun coming up. And then we have our final 3 episodes is Sun, Average, Rose. None of them were right. Anytime we predicted a contender in the last 3 episodes, they immediately went home next.
Were we the drama?
I think we were. I just enjoy the amount of diversity on this season's Edgic of like contenders. Because last season it was pretty dominated by a few people because there wasn't many
Alex.
gateway moves. Yes, by Alex. I think Alex held well, let's see. Alex held a good chunk of over half of the season. Elk was top contender, and then it went between Elk and Marcus for the end half of the season.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because Alex did stop being a contender due to her jury management or lack
Mhm.
thereof.
And also, the first 3 episodes, we didn't see a single shift in who was the contenders. They were Alex, Badstar, and Conch, and they stayed that way for the first 3 episodes. And this season, the contenders did have a bit of interplay because we see Court and Average on episode 1, and then they immediately get replaced with Uni and Rose,
Oh wow,
or Court and Archer.
that's so
And then
fascinating.
I like by episode 6, it's a whole new block of contenders that have never been like seen. And I enjoy the Huntress Malik LaFleur on episode 5 being boosted up just 1 notch by episode 6, Average falling off and disappearing.
Well, I mean, they did that to themselves, so.
Yes. Okay. So that's like the edgic of the season. Challenges this season. I think we did pretty well with most of our challenges this season. I think they were some of our best, in my opinion. I wish I could have played some of these challenges.
I agree. Now, there's one that the castaways complained about, but I thought would be really fun, and I would have loved to play. And that was
Mhm.
the one that was based on the Jackbox game, Talking Points. I think it was the
Mhm.
F12 challenge. I think so. But yeah, the one that ended
Yeah,
up
it
being
was Jado.
no, 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 not Jotto. No, no, no. It was the one based on Talking Points. I mean, they also hated Jotto, but like Malik complained about the one based on Talking Points. Yeah. Let me go on the spreadsheet. Hang on.
Well, we can get to it because I was going to go down the line from
Oh,
F20
okay, okay.
and kind of talk about them. So we start off with just about my favorite kind of challenge in orgs, and especially speeds, because these are really fun in speeds. The kind of scavenger hunt separate server challenges. We did the ticket hiding since we started off with kind of everyone being invited to Harga and them getting their tickets to go. I loved making this comp personally. It was a lot of fun. It was
Yeah.
me, Sophie, and you
Yeah, we were
who
just on VC for like 3 hours fucking around.
and there was some great moments in making it, though I don't think the contestants had as much fun with it.
Yeah, but it's not like a challenge that they hated. Because
No.
I send out a feedback form, and on the feedback form it asks what challenges they liked and what challenges they disliked, and this one was never mentioned for either of those, if
Yeah.
I remember correctly.
Hmm. And then we go into Final 19, which is the Hero Puzzle Challenge,
Puzzle Heroes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Puzzle Heroes. And Again, this is another one I would have liked to do. I like puzzles. So, and this was also a complete blowout again. Both of these challenges kind of were blowouts because the Alskar tribe had two-thirds of the score the Medkonza tribe had, which is
Yeah.
pretty big.
Yeah. And that all comes down to
Then,
strategy.
mhm,
Like the strategy for this challenge is to have less people doing it.
exactly.
They think that more people doing it is better. That's the trick.
And then we go into one of the coolest twists, in my opinion, that we had for the season, which was the Bloodbath Tribal and having uh 6 members, so 3 from each tribe, go to a joint tribal, no holds bar kind of like throwing caution to the wind trying to survive. And it sucks that this was one of the twists that kind of got sidelined because of the Code situation this one was.
Yeah.
But we did get to see the cool moment of Huntress, who was one of the 2 sacrificers.
Yeah.
Her 4 people she chose, her
Very-
3 choices, and then her
Oh
alternate,
yeah.
all went home one after the other, which was very interesting to watch. And Huntress is psychic, confirmed. That's all I know.
Yes. Do we also want to talk about the immunity challenge for this one, which was the ABC scavenger hunt?
Oh, true, yeah.
The Google scavenger hunt, ABC scavenger hunt, where they had to find unique pictures. So if their picture matched anything of someone else, it didn't count. Like anyone else in the game.
I like that. I really enjoyed this because A, this is I love these kinds of challenges where you have to find like so many different things and you're just trying to speed through and you forget the part where you're trying to find unique things.
Mhm.
And I love the speedy challenges where your mind kind of just becomes goo when you're doing it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and personally, like I think a scavenger hunt is like a classic in like terms of org challenges. And my favorite form of it that I've played many forms of scavenger hunts. And my favorite so far has been the ABC version.
Mhm.
I like it better whenever you're doing it in real life, but that didn't make sense for this concept since it was
Yeah.
a quick little like individual immunity thing.
And then we move on to another I challenge type that I enjoy, which is the video scavenger hunt. Although it's not really a scavenger hunt, it's almost like a video quiz
Yeah, it's
type challenge.
yeah.
And I had one of these kinds of challenges for a amazing race leg in a survivor org. And it was one of the challenges that stuck out to me. And I love these kinds of things because not only is it just an interesting challenge, you're also introduced to videos that you may not normally watch, and sometimes they're fascinating, sometimes they're boring. But I thought this one was good. A deleted scene from a movie is always an interesting thing to watch, especially if you know the movie.
I liked it because I was the one who found the video and I didn't know that there was I mean obviously it's a movie, there's going to be deleted scenes, but I didn't know that there was any released deleted scenes. So it was a fun little
Yeah,
find.
neither did I. I never knew about that scene. And then we go into oh gosh, what was the final 16 challenge?
That was the talking
Oh,
point.
this was the talking points.
Yeah.
And yeah, people definitely complained about this. But I thought there was some really fun things that came out of this because this was one of the spectator votes.
Yeah.
Where is that channel? Because I want to look at um here it is. I want to look at these. because we had the NFTs should be the only form of currency, and here's why. And then we had prove me wrong, yes means no. This one, reading it hurt my brain
Oh my god, I know.
because the topic was the meaning of yes is actually no because yes and no is because of yes meaning no, and hence yes actually means no because if no meant no, then yes would mean yes, but yes actually means no. So therefore, the meaning of yes is no. Prove me wrong. That hurt my brain. But
Let me just explain this challenge real quick since it's like a unique challenge that we came up with.
mhm.
So basically every single person in the game had to come up with like a prompt, just like something that you could give a speech on, and those got randomized and sent, like half of them were sent to one tribe and half were sent to another tribe, and each tribe picked one for the other tribe to present. And then I also gave them 20 really weird stock images, and they picked 3 for the other tribe that the tribe had to present with their topic. So then they created a PowerPoint presentation for it, which I think
And
is a really unique and fun challenge.
it is, and I enjoy the kind of creativity challenges.
Me too.
I suck at flag challenges and I hate them because they're kind of a mainstay and they're a bit boring. But last season we had the make your own holiday, and this season we had the make the presentation. And it's always fun to watch the creativity of contestants and players kind of flourish
Mhm.
because the second topic, the winning topic, their presentation was really visually pleasing, and I think that's why it got the win, was not the actual content in the presentation, because I think a lot of people read the first slide and just eyes glossed over and they were like, "Okay, never mind."
Yeah, I agree.
And then we go into my absolute favorite challenge, greed. I adore greed in every sense because it is just a drama starter challenge.
Yeah.
And we see Uni take it last second for chaos and drama. And it was the beginning of the end. It was kicking the rock and getting it
Well,
moving.
it's usually a really interesting challenge because normally it's like new and inexperienced players who take greed.
Hmm.
But Uni's a very experienced player. So
Uni,
couldn't
I
even
think
respect.
Uni's reason was being bored,
It was.
which is my favorite reasoning ever.
Also, I would like to point out that we have our winner in the call,
Hmm.
AO. But yeah, that was just hilarious. But greed always, whether someone takes it or not, it always ends up really entertaining. Especially
Yes,
if you don't merge after like we did. Because normally
because it
greed is set up like a merge challenge and you merge after, so the consequences aren't as dire. But
yeah, but they didn't know because what season 3 we merged at 11, and
we
then
merged at
I
12.
think they were merged at 12. And this season, everyone was expecting a swap right after Greed because about Final 14 is when rumors of swaps started happening. So everyone was like, okay, well, we're gonna swap because I think it was Archer who made the point of, oh, cool, swaps coming. We have the majority, so like it's unlikely everyone's gonna get screwed. And then Uni takes it, and it switches to, why would you do that? And if I swap with Uni, she's gone.
Yeah.
And Uni's confirming in the spectator lounge that she believed swap was next. Pulled a fast one on you. Though I will say, Uni saved her partner there because I think Sun was going out that tribal,
Yeah, absolutely.
and then we see Sun be able to flip his game from that and go all the way to Final Four and with a great shot at winning the game. So Uni was actually a hero for taking greed.
She was a wonderful sacrifice. If a joint happened, I still think Sun would have went home because the numbers. Like
Yeah.
Medkin Slaw
And
numbers.
they had numbers, and the other tribe, knowing they were down in numbers and knowing that Sun was the easiest boot, probably would have pitched him. So none of them would have went.
And the Medkin Slaw, some of the Medkin Slaw members were connected to the girls, to Court and Rose.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Clara was still in the game at the time, so to Clara too. So they were all safe.
And then we move on to I forget the name of what this actually is.
Skin the Fool.
Guess who?
Oh yeah,
And
we called it Skin the Fool.
Yeah, Skin the Fool. And the Alskar tribe completely dominated this. Because I think it was Bufus or Sun completely vibe checked on guess 3 who it was.
Yeah. It was literally in 3 guesses, which was wild.
And then I remember watching the other tribe do it after, and we were all sitting there like, oh no. Oh, you guys gotta make a guess. Oh, you didn't make a guess.
Yeah.
You lost.
This was another one that the castaways did not like.
No. And it sucked because I think it was a cool challenge.
We've done it before. It was season 2 that we did it. And people liked it in season 2. But the difference between season 2 and this season is season 2 we did it with movie characters. Or no, we did it season 1. Season 1 we did it with movie characters, and this season we did it with the castaways. So they were a little more limited, I guess.
And then we move on to another kind of controversial challenge, the maze challenge. I personally could not make sense out of this challenge as a spectator. I was very confused.
Really?
Yes.
They just had to make a blind maze.
I got it more when I watched them do it, but I came in to the completed mazes from each tribe and I was like, I'm confused. What are we sending to the other tribe? And then I got it. The idea of them having to go through it blind made sense.
Yeah. This is another challenge that we reused. We did this one season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And they liked it season 2. And I think people actually liked it this season too. That's funny I said that. They liked it this season as well. But I can see why it'd be confusing.
Yeah. And then we get to Jado, tournament style Jado.
Well, we did. Actually, are you looking at the spreadsheet?
No.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because we actually, F12 didn't happen. Because Mike striked out. So we skipped.
True.
So it got skipped. Jado got moved to F8.
Oh, true. Then we skip to F11, which is
they had to find letters in a picture and unscramble them.
I remember when you made this challenge, my eyes hurt.
Actually,
it's a good challenge,
really
but
I would not.
Yeah,
I probably would have do not finished.
Oh, I definitely would have DNF'd. I would have got halfway through, got a headache, and be like, no. Or it would have taken me a solid 30 minutes to figure that out. I'm so slow.
Yeah, me too. But everyone figured it out really fast. There was one person who, I think the winner, who was Sun, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Figured it out. Did it in what, like 3 minutes?
Yeah, 3 minutes and 21 seconds, finishing in 3, 2, 1.
That's insane.
And then we get to the double tribal challenge or the paralyzer challenge.
This was not one that they liked, but in their defense, I think I fucked it up. I think I didn't do it right because I didn't fully understand it.
And also, this was one of those challenges that was kind of almost semi-live, and it took forever.
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
It was over like less than 30 minutes.
I thought it took like an hour and a half.
No, this shit was done quick. It should have taken like an hour and a half, but it was over really fast. Like I was supposed to spread out the shooting, like whenever I said shoot, but I
Mhm.
just kept doing it immediately after.
Yeah. And I almost prefer it being immediately after because I've seen this challenge or this kind of challenge be done in mostly Big Brother orgs for endurance comps where they'll wait like 30 minutes and then say something and you have 60 seconds to respond to stay in. Those are hell.
Oh yeah.
But I also think the ability to coordinate for this, because everyone coordinated and got Rose and Average the win.
Yeah,
I almost wonder if it would have been more chaotic if it wasn't organized.
I agree. Like if they couldn't strategize.
Yeah.
Definitely something.
It's one that I would enjoy seeing it come back for another season in a different form.
Yeah. I think it just needs to be tweaked. But to be fair, this was Sophie's challenge and they just didn't have time to explain it fully to me and
Yeah.
they couldn't be there to host it. So
And now we're at Jado.
now we're at Giotto, everyone's fucking worst, least favorite challenge,
Nightmare.
which
It was
I like.
everyone's nightmare.
It's like Wordle.
Hmm.
I mean, it frustrates me whenever I play it, but I was so surprised because like the amount of I thought that Giotto was a pretty popular org challenge, but the amount of people who had never heard of it was shocking to me.
Hmm. And we also see, I would say Malik pretty much dominated this challenge.
Yeah.
Court did really well as well. But I love Jado, and I thought this had all of the makings to be a really good challenge, but the players disagreed.
I mean,
And then
in Boofus said I hear Lex's Canadian accent. Lex is not Canadian.
very close. I mean, it's close enough.
Um
About 40 minutes from the border.
Uni Giotto is like Wordle, so it's like actually let me just direct you to the channel because it's much easier to it's hard to explain. Um yeah.
Wordless.
Yeah, it's Wordle, but we don't confirm if your letters are correct. Well, we do, but not if they're in the correct place or which letters are correct.
And then we get to Final 7 with, I would say, our org's mainstay challenge, a challenge that will be in every season.
Yes, because this is my
Subjects.
favorite challenge and this is my org.
Mhm. And I mean, it just causes so much good drama because half the time it's people being like, wait, I got put as biggest contender. Oh shit. It's a lot of like, oh shit moments for players.
I know. And a lot of people don't like touchy subjects. They think that it should be a reward challenge and not a
Hmm.
main challenge,
Immunity.
but I don't care.
And it's fun to see some of the answers. So, like, Sacrificial Goat ended up going to Rose, who nearly won the season.
Yeah. If LaFleur had
And
been on
then,
the jury, she would have won, which I guess we can touch on later, but
mhm. And then we see who's winning the game being between Average and Huntress. And at this point in the game, Average was arguably one of the biggest goats at the time
yeah.
because there was still the narrative of Leaky Envy, and there was no move that they made at that point because Average's contention on winning the game really came from doing Fire Against Sun.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then Court and Rose got completely vibe checked on the unbreakable bond question, but they didn't hide that.
Yeah, that was not a surprise to anyone.
And then Boofus got the self-fulfilling prophecy of winning the strategic mastermind after having the mind of a mastermind. And we see Average getting voted hero and then winning hero at the end of the season, which is Chef's Kiss.
We love to see it. Average also got voted as the person who never should have made it here to begin with.
Which I find very funny.
You know what
Getting who's winning the game.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but Average was so upset about getting voted that and most likely to win. They went into tribe chat after and started fuming about winning both of those, and everyone just ignored them. No one paid attention.
And I mean, Average was inevitably the person who caused the reason why everyone loves this kind of challenge. Kind of getting a little confused or angry and expressing that after is what makes this challenge worth it every season.
Yes. Oh my god, yes.
Okay, another personal favorite challenge of mine. Final Six. I would have despised doing this challenge, but it's such an interesting concept.
What was it again? Because it's wrong.
It was taking the quotes of people in the game and then doing the words. So, like, Sun's "ew, what a gross fuck" became "you, water grows frog." I would have DNF'd this challenge so quickly. No, I would have gotten to the first one and I would have been like, do I need this? Probably, but I don't care. I'm not going to try.
Yeah, that shit was way too hard. That shit was way too hard. I could not have done that. Boofus won.
And Boofus won with 4 out of 6, which is more than I would have ever gotten.
I mean, like, if you sit there and if you sit there and like sound them out and you like pay attention to it, it's not that bad. Like Sophie didn't do a bad job of like doing the words whenever you sound them out. But
out of 6. Court was very close to winning that. If Court took just a smidge more time and got one more unity, though it didn't matter. Because
Court told
leak was one.
Well, I don't think we specified not to share the scores.
It's kind of just like one of our unspoken rules, and then we were disappointed, and now we kind of know. Got to be a little more vocal on that.
Yeah.
And then we get to the challenge that I definitely would have DNF'd on, the Final Four challenge.
I'm sorry, my food is here. Let me just open my door.
Yeah. No, but y'all, this challenge I would have cried. I would have looked at it and cried.
Okay, sorry. He's gonna bark, but I'm here.
It's fine.
What challenge?
We love Casper. Final Four. I would have DNF'd so quickly.
That was like with the different like puzzles and stuff, right?
Yeah. So I would have been fine with the jigsaw. I would have been fine with the number strategy puzzle and the word puzzle. But the endurance one, I would have forgotten the rules so often, and I would have flopped, and I wouldn't have even tried. I wouldn't have even tried with that challenge.
Well, Boofus flopped on the endurance portion.
Mhm.
I think he was doing pretty well, and then the endurance portion came, and he just completely fucked it up. Sun also kept fucking up the endurance portion.
And it was pretty close between Sun and Average for the win. I think it was, what, like a minute
Dude,
difference?
that's so funny.
No, it was 3 minutes.
Sun had to restart the endurance portion like 4 times.
So Sun was pretty close.
Sun would have won, yeah. And that's crazy because Sun went home, right? At Final Four.
Mhm.
Damn.
And it's interesting that Average won this, almost lost it because Average came into the season saying like puzzles was their strong suit. And we also had Puzzle Queen herself, Huntress, on the season. So this could have been a way different challenge had she made it. She probably would have finished it in like 30 minutes, blew everyone out of the water.
Oh, absolutely.
And then we get to yet another challenge I would have flopped so quickly, Bridges, for our final immunity challenge.
I would have been frustrated with it, but I think I would have liked it.
Mhm.
The castaways liked it. Whenever we fixed it and it wasn't messed up. Because the first board was messed up. Dressed up.
Mhm.
But, yeah,
And then
it didn't like require a
yeah.
lot of knowledge. Like you could look up all the answers.
Yeah. Poor Average missed out 2 people, and I think if Boofus won, we would have had a totally different ending of the season, because Rose won that, securing her place. She takes Boofus, not Average. I think Average would have won the season if it was Average versus Rose, but I think it was a good challenge to end off on because it made everyone kind of have to remember everyone, and it came right after Rites of Passage,
Yeah.
which I adore.
Wait, I am curious. Would Boof have taken average or taken Rose? Taken
Well,
average?
Boofus is here.
Do we think Boofus would have won against average?
No clue.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Because Average never got around to writing their speech, because I think Average was going to write their speech, but I'm unsure. Because I think the 3 girls might have all voted Average.
Well, I don't know because Rose mentioned that she had only messaged average like not that many times.
Which, yeah.
So I think
So,
Rose was closer to Boofus, but she was also an emotional player, so she might have been hurt that Boofus cut her.
yeah. But it's all kind of
It
speculation.
is, yeah.
If it happened, we would have seen what happened. But it did not.
Should we,
And then
oh, go ahead.
we get to Final
Yeah,
Tribal.
that's what I was.
And 4 to 3. Yeah, I can math
Boofus killed
and remember
Final
numbers.
Tribal.
Exactly.
Boofus
And that's
slayed.
that's what I'm so happy about because Boofus came in, started kind of from a messy first org playing of like is a newbie, very clearly a newbie, and then really got his footing and slayed the end of the season, and then slayed FTC. And it was really interesting to watch because Rose also helped Boofus a
Yeah, she
little.
did. I think it also
And
helped though that Rose kind of flopped FTC.
mhm,
I think she did her best, but it just wasn't that great. I feel bad saying that because I know she like kind of has a problem like with us as a server, but like
mhm.
it just like wasn't, especially in comparison to Boofus.
And I think also some of the early questions from jurors probably like took the wind out of her sails,
Yeah.
especially Shoddy, because we saw after the season, there is definitely feelings that are between the two that are not nice and pretty heated. And I think that whole exchange took the wind out of her sail. And then LaFleur not being on jury also was a huge detractor.
Yeah. I think she was just kind of over the whole org by that point.
Hmm.
But I mean also like her speech like wasn't great.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But that's kind of everything. Tribals existed. None of them were crazy interesting except the Rocks tribal and Greed.
I think Shoddy's tribal was pretty interesting.
Well, Shoddy's was on his exit.
Yeah, on his exit.
But when it came to actual gameplay, we never really got to see what went down in the tribals,
Right.
which was unfortunate. But my overall opinion on the season was it was definitely one of our weaker seasons, but it had its moments of shining. And I think some of those are the greed, uh, rock out happening, and then FTC was or kind of the whole finale block of Final Four, Final Three, FTC. I think those were all really great moments because we see Average taking away their own immunity and going against Sun and Fire, and then Average getting cut because it's a Final Two, not a Final Three, right after, to Boofus completely dominating FTC into a deserved win. It was a good ending to the season. It was a nice cap off for sure.
I mean, it's unfortunate that it was such a bad season because Boofus is one of our better winners.
Hmm.
Like I'd put Boofus, I'd say it goes like I mean, Carson has their own rankings, but I would say it goes Alex M, top winner, then Boofus, then Cody, then Jack. Yeah, that's how I would rank it.
Yeah. And I enjoyed seeing because Boofus almost, not exactly like Pody, where Boofus, I think, was seen almost as a goat ish by viewers and some people on the jury, but really impressed. Obviously, not to the extent of Pody, who was seen as a goat and then completely changed minds in FTC. Stan Pody.
See, I always thought that Boofus was a worthy contender.
Yeah, Boofus was definitely far more of a contender than Pody. But I think with Rose's legacy throughout the season of being a top dog and a social contender and threat, and Average's Final Four move
Yeah.
kind of washed out Bufus a little to the jury at the end. But then, I mean, he brought it back and won.
Yeah. So
But those are kind of all of my thoughts on the season.
yeah, I can't think of
Do you have
anything to
anything?
add. Maybe next week we
And
can interview Boofus if he feels down.
I would enjoy that. I'll actually record it. Sure. Period. And then our next season is currently casting Get Shrek'd. I think this is going to be a fan favorite theme and like idea for a season. It's already gotten a lot of love.
Yeah.
But this is our first all ages in quotations. I think we're cutting it off at what?
14.
14? but we have lowered the age gap, and some of the twists this season are amazing. And I think it's funny because the theme of this season changed quite a bit
Yeah.
as we went through. Because originally, I well, can I say this or are we using the theme for another season? I
I mean, we
forget.
might use it for another season, but you can say it now. It doesn't matter.
Okay, originally the theme was going to be Howl's Moving
No,
Castle.
no, no, no. Originally, it was supposed to be Tangled.
Oh, originally, it was supposed to be Tangled.
Mhm.
And then it moved to Howl's Moving Castle, and then it moved to Shrek.
Yeah.
Also, Boofus with a very on point read, but with Midsummer being the theme, everything that happened really fit with the movie.
God, so true. I hate to admit it, but so true.
And if we're going to do that, we're going to have a overpowering Parvati-like female in the season representing Dragon. Please. I would love to see a Parvati hit Villainvivor, though it might not be the season to do it.
Yeah.
Might be a might be a bad season to do that. Though who knows, maybe we'll get like a all 18 plus final 6 or something and then have someone Parvati their way through that.
That was such an interesting take, Lex.
Yeah, no. I realized halfway through that oh wait, no, this is a young versus old season.
I think Boofus has a good. I was just about to say that Uni literally in season one was like, I'm gonna flirt with everyone out of nowhere, like during mid merge. Like she was like, I'm gonna flirt with everyone, and then didn't because I mean everyone was inactive, so like there was no one to flirt with.
Mhm.
But like, I no, she did try to flirt with Jack. I remember that, and then Jack was gay. That was so funny. But I
One thing I love about Uni is she always simps for someone every org she plays.
Uni always goes after the gay guys, always.
True. Very
I
true.
think Boofus has a good read whenever he says, I think the young ones are going to meme around but play good, and the older ones are going to try hard. I think that the young ones are going to
Mhm.
dominate.
Yeah, I definitely can see it. And with some of our applicants, I'm excited.
We have like a ton of applicants already, but they're all fucking minors. Like, where are all the adults?
They'll come. Well, we saw with Marcus on season 3, last second applicant. So they're probably all going to be like the day before and apply.
True, true. I think we might have to.
Um,
I think though, a lot of the adults who apply for Villainvivor, the appeal is that it is 16 plus. So we might see
mhm.
less of them apply for this season. But we might have to, because right now I told everyone that like the divisions are going to be 14 through 19 and then 20 plus. Um, but I think we might have to adjust that to be 14 through 17 and then 18 plus.
Yeah. We'll see in the coming weeks for sure. I'm super excited for the season, but hey, we're in the off season now, which means more shitpost podcasts.
Which is Lex's favorite thing. Yes, you
Very
need this
true.
preseason speed. Are you going to play it? Uni?
And the speed. Uni is very good at speeds, so I would love
I
to
don't
see
think
it.
Uni has played a Villainvivor speed. You guys, if you play the speed, you have to get here early because our speed fills up really fast.
Yes. Also, Sun in with a very true take. Sun is not great at speeds. He has terrible luck in them, and that's the biggest thing. Just terrible
I believe
luck.
it.
But yeah, get Shrek'd. Everyone get your friends to apply, or if you haven't played a season, apply, please. And if you're above 19, definitely please apply.
Yes.
We need adults. We need some supervision for the children of the season.
Yeah, because we're not going to do it. No, just kidding.
No. No, this is the season we're actually going to take away our VC rule.
And we're not going to sit in on VCs at all.
Yeah. That is true, son. I did idle you out of a speed.
As you should.
Yes. And then I did rock Uni out.
Even better.
My speed era was very fun and interesting. But I think I'm going to end the podcast here. This was way longer than I expected. This has been a full hour podcast, and I was ready to come in for like a little 20-minute chit chat session about the season and then leave. But we should be seeing Boofus next week sometime for a lovely interview. And then we get 3 whole shitpost podcasts. And then I'm going to, over the next month, brainstorm some ideas for on-season podcasts because I think I want to do something different than episode reviews and recaps. But we'll figure that out as the time comes.
If anyone who
Anyways,
regularly listens wants to put in suggestions for what you would like to hear during the on-season podcasts, that would be nice as well.
very true. And also off-season podcasts. Give me ideas. I like ideas. I like hearing stuff. Anyways, to the people who have been listening this whole time, there was a lot of you this time. Thank you for coming. And then for the people listening on YouTube, thank you for listening. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.